Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Passions Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the soap opera Passions. I am your regular host, Latara, back today with Jessica Jean.
Hey, guys.
Welcome back. Oh, I know you like that sound.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back, Jessica. It's only been, a week, 2 weeks since we saw you?
Mm-hmm.
So everything you don't need like a refresher. Everything's fresh. Yeah. Yep. It's nice to jump in like that. So we're talking about 806 through 810 today. Yes.
Yes.
Y'all, unfortunately, we have now moved back. It's the fall again. It's now these episodes aired in September. And so now everything's about to start moving at such a slow fucking pace again. The amount of times they said the same thing over and over and over again, like Louise saying like, I'm going to tell him the truth. What he's going to want to take you home and have sex with you. Oh my God.
I wanted to be like, stop saying that. Like, it's like, shut up. Like, stop bringing it up. It's so weird how he keeps bringing up that specific thing. It's like gross, dude.
Yeah. And
the way he did it was weird.
I'm over it. And yeah, I agree. I think him really sticking on that, like, he's going to want to have sex with you. Like, it
made it really weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it did make it kind of weird. But
and like to his mom and like to a room of like doctors and stuff, he's like, and they'll make love. And it's like, dude.
Kim, people are dying. Specifically Antonio.
Everyone's just like, ugh, yeah.
But I hate Antonio too, and we will talk all about it because that's the first thing up this week.
Yeah, he sucks. Ugh.
But before we do that, we're going to talk about say a quick shout out to the Patreon members over on Patreon. Thank you to Munashe, Lisa, Sid, Randall, Hannah, Camelia, Jeanette, Eric, Fantasia, Sean, S, Larissa, Maria, Lisa, Jessica Jean, Laura, Karen, Uche, Paige, Casey, Garanch, Tom Bergeron, Daisy, Shane, Kelly, Taylor Harris Crane, DJ, and Kelly. Thank you all so much for being patrons. I do it for y'all. I do this for you. Yeah. For you. So let's get into the show. It's weird because I have seven full pages of notes, but I also felt like this week was kind of boring.
I felt like it was like a pretty event. I thought it was eventful. What do you mean boring? Why do you think it was boring?
I just felt like very little happened.
I guess you're right. It's kind of what you were saying before about it, like them repeating things a lot. Like a lot of it was just like them doing the same thing like 7 times or something. It did take, I guess it was slow.
And a lot of it was like recapping what happened last week and the week before.
Right.
And so yeah, it was, they're just bringing people up to speed, you know, after the summer months where a lot happened in the summer months, like a lot.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it was a little slow for me. But let's talk about Sheridan and Louise.
Okay.
This very ill-fated couple. Oh my God.
Poor couple.
I need to change the fated couples heading to ill-fated couples because these people are ill-fated.
Tragic couples. Yeah, you go.
No, it's okay. So I'm gonna pick up with Antonio and Miguel.
Okay.
Where they're having this conversation. Antonio basically brings Miguel up to speed about him finding Sheridan, and isn't it amazing? I'm engaged to Sheridan Crane. She is alive. Because Miguel saw his brother at the hospital and was like, oh my God, Antonio, I can't believe you're alive. And then Antonio's like, yeah, and I'm engaged. And you'll never believe who I'm engaged to. He tells him, I'm engaged to Sheridan Crane. Miguel's like, you can't be engaged to Sheridan Crane. Sheridan Crane's dead.
Yeah. Awkward.
It was so funny to me. And then Antonia's like, oh, you don't know, little brother. Sheridan Crane was with me all this time. She's not dead. And I'm engaged to her. And then Louise is like, yeah, well, you still can't be engaged to her.
Right. No. Yeah. And he basically, how obvious do you think it was? I feel like it was so like the fact that they play it off later as if it wasn't someone that this guy distinctly knows, it's like every single situation where he's like, I feel like you guys are hiding something from me. It felt really heavily like it's your dad who's dating her or something like that. Like it was someone he knew. And then they were like, you don't know him. It's not a big deal. And he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, okay. So Miguel tells him you can be engaged to Sheridan because Sheridan's engaged to someone else. And Antonio flies off the handle.
He
My
nearly
God.
dies. He nearly died.
Oh my God. Okay. So Antonio starts like yelling at Miguel, like, tell me his name. Who's the guy? Who's the guy that Sheridan's engaged to? And Miguel's like, wait a minute. Didn't Mama or Luis talk to you? And he's like, I already talked to them. They didn't say anything about Sheridan being engaged. And so Miguel, poor little stupid ass Miguel is so confused. Poor thing. They should at least sent him a text message or something.
I know. He did kind of put it together from what he said. He was like, oh, wait, like you could see that his wheels were turning a little. He was trying to back out of the situation.
Yeah, because he's trying to figure out why wouldn't they have told him that Luis is engaged to Sheridan, right?
Right.
So he doesn't want to he doesn't want to be the fuck up to blow it all up, but he also doesn't know why they're not telling him the truth, right?
Right. No.
And Antonio's just being really pushy with him, like, tell me the guy's name because I'm gonna kill him. What do you mean?
They're so down to kill people on the like as soon as they have any temper that rises, they're like, I will like it's just so so much of a given or something. Like everyone just accepts that people will want to kill people.
It's too normalized.
Right at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too normalized.
Anyone's feathers, you might get murdered.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So he's like, tell me the guy's name because I'm gonna kill him. First of all, you stole his girl. Hello? He was there first. If anybody wants to kill somebody, it's him wanting to kill you.
Yes.
If anybody's justified, and I'm not saying anybody would be justified in that because it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's insane.
For him to be like,
for it.
Tell me because I'm going to kill him. And then what? Go to prison for the rest of your life and still not be with Sheridan? Okay.
I also just have it. He hasn't seen his brother in like forever. And now he's like basically, he's just being sketchy from the start and he's going to get sent away from him immediately. I don't know. I felt bad for Miguel.
Yeah, I did feel bad for Miguel. And it was an awkward conversation between the two of them from the beginning because these two people do not know each other, right? Like Antonio left and Miguel was a baby probably, basically. Right.
Yeah, how did you even recognize him?
Yeah. Maybe he'd seen in pictures and maybe he'd recognized him from old pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, this is when Hank shows up and he tries to get Antonio to go back to bed. He's like, Antonio, what are you doing here? And he gives Miguel like this signal to like shut up, don't say anything, because Hank says, Antonio, you need to go back to bed. Eve said that you need rest. And Antonio's like, well, Miguel said that Sheridan's engaged to someone else and I need to know who it is. And then Hank just looks at Miguel and shakes his head no. And so then Miguel is just like, as Antonio just gets more and more agitated, Miguel then says, oh, I don't understand what's going on. That cracked me up. He's like, I don't understand what's going on. And then that's when Antonio's like, neither do I. And nobody will tell me anything. And nobody said anything about Sheridan being engaged to someone else. So tell me what's going on. And they try to get him to go back to bed. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. I need to find Sheridan, right? Miguel then says, oh, well, I was just confused. And then the phone rings in Antonio's room, which breaks this whole thing up. Right. Miguel's like, I was just confused. Ring, ring, ring. Saved by the bell. And then he's like, we better go answer that. It's probably important. And so they go and answer the phone and it's Charity. Right. Charity. So let's talk about what happened with Charity very quickly in her room. Okay. Charity is in her room and she has a mirror, like a handheld mirror, and she looks into the mirror and she has a vision of Antonio getting attacked by Luis, and then Luis kills him and Sheridan like runs into the scene and she's like, oh no, what is this? What's happening? So that's what prompts her to call Miguel, because she's like, I need to talk to Miguel. I don't know what this is, but I need to talk to him. Right. So she calls that room because she finds out that he's with Antonio.
Right. And she kind of is putting it together. So she's like frantic to get him.
Mm-hmm. And she asks him to come to her room, and he tells her, I'm dealing with Antonio right now. And she says, oh my God, d- does he think he's engaged to Sheridan? Basically, like,
Yeah.
she's
He
like,
believes
yeah.
her now too. I like that he believes her at this point. He's like takes her premonition seriously because for forever he didn't, and I'm like happy to see that that's changed.
Yeah, I think this time because he saw the evidence
It was
beforehand.
like, yeah, it was happening right in real time, kind of.
Yeah, and so he goes off to her room and they have a whole conversation, which we will talk about later. And so Hank then tells Antonio to go back to bed, and Antonio's like, I have to find Sheridan, and Hank says, I'll go find her. Don't worry about it. I'll go find her. I'll tell her to come this way. So then Hank goes off to find her. So let's talk about what's going on with everybody else who knows what's going on. Eve,
Okay,
Louise, Sheridan, Pilar, they're all in Eve's office.
right.
Having a conversation about Antonio and Antonio's health without his consent.
So, yeah, totally. It's true. And they all basically agree that any kind of like upset will kill him. Like it, and that's like their medical thoughts on that.
I'm
It's
already sick of
the,
this.
the thing is like in this batch that we just watched, that happens like in almost every storyline. Like someone's gonna die because they're upset, so they can't do. It's like just so weird. Did you notice that at all? Like that it's like, oh, like yeah.
Yeah, there's always some kind of like
I was
reason, ridiculous, absurd reason that you can't tell somebody the truth. Um, and
because
yeah, and
in
it's
that world
Eve.
it might actually kill them, and then it does. It's not like something they just say. Literally, when the truth ever starts to come out, the people do start to like pass away, and so it's like really like they're really gonna die if they're right. They'll die.
They'll die, allegedly. This man, whatever, and whatever. So they're all in Eve's office having this conversation. Louise, we pick up with Louise trying to get Sheridan to say that she would never sleep with Antonio just to protect him from the truth. He's like,
So weird. It's like why are you? Why is that the direction you're coming in from? Like specifically, it's just so weird.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Also, the fact that Sheridan is so silent about it, right? She
She's
doesn't
like,
say,
well, obviously, I'm gonna have sex with him.
yeah, she doesn't say anything. She's just like silent. And he says it a bunch of times, like, tell them you would never have sex with him just to
Right.
keep him.
He says that in front of them. It's right. That was so weird.
Yeah, tell them
And
you
then
would never have sex with him just to keep him safe.
he also used they also and I looked it up, but I'd never heard people use prostitute as like a verb. Like they kept being like,
You
you're
haven't ever heard that?
no. I've only ever heard it as like a title of like a job description. And so
Oh,
they're like, you're gonna prostitute yourself? She's prostituting herself. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, but I just felt like they were just so weird talking about it in general. Like it just sounded, it's like, is that her prostituting herself? I feel like she's like in a relationship with this dude, Brian. I don't know. I feel like it's messy and it's like also just don't talk about that with a room full of people.
It was
Really.
okay. It was, in my opinion, like when the prostitute word came out, I was like, okay, we're crossing a line. Like
Yeah,
this is
getting
absurd. And yeah, it's like, well, Sheridan, now it feels like y'all are in an open relationship, in
they
a
are.
throuple.
They kind of have decided that they are for
Yeah,
now.
because Sheridan basically he tells her, tell them you would never have sex with him just to protect him from the truth. And she says, Luis, I'm sorry. I love you, but you have to understand that when I was Diana, I fell in love with Antonio. Girl, that's not what we're talking about. Say the thing. What is it? Answer the question. What were you gonna
What?
say?
What was the question? What was the question?
That she wouldn't just sleep with him just to protect him from the
Right.
truth.
Yeah. Don't like try to like, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Like, answer that question. Like, would you sleep with him simply to protect him from the truth?
And then
Or,
I'm pretty sure this is when Luis says something like, I can't remember because it was kind of confusing. He was like, but then you were Diana and now you're Sheridan pretending to be Diana and you're having sex with him as Sheridan. Have you ever thought of that? And just like the way he worded it, I was like, what? Like
100%. I wrote it in my notes
to see if it was deep on. I thought maybe it was deep, and I was like, oh no, it doesn't really like.
It didn't make any sense. It's my next note. I was so confused.
Hilarious.
Yeah, he says, if you take Antonio home, it's not going to be Sheridan. It's going to be as Diana, and you're going to be making love to him as Sheridan. Did you ever think of that? Like, what does that sentence mean? That sentence didn't make any sense.
I understand emotionally what he means, but it didn't make sense.
No.
You ever think of that? No, Louise, no.
I didn't, because it was nonsensical.
Yeah, no one but you did.
Yeah. And then Louise says that he does say, you can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. And that's fair enough. Yeah. This is a tough situation. I can appreciate that it is a very, very tough situation, like an impossible situation to be in.
Yeah.
For Sheridan. However, I do believe there is a way that we can tell Antonio the truth and not do all of this nonsense.
That's what I'm saying is like, it's not impossible, because obviously what you do is you have to tell this dude the situation. You have to tell him the truth. And if he starts to like have a heart attack, then he dies learning the truth. Like, it's like, you can't just pretend what they're doing to like be nice or something is like so absurd. And like, I think they have to tell him. They're not going to, but
and it's actually very mean. Like it's not a nice thing.
Especially because like people sometimes don't die when people predict they will. They get better or whatever. And then what are they gonna then be like, actually, we thought you're gonna die for sure. So we've been lying to you all
this entire time.
Have been doing a charade. It's like some Truman Show like kind of thing.
Yeah. So Louise then tells her she can't have it both ways. And she says, Antonio saved my life. I owe him my life. Louise.
Yeah, what?
He says, he's like, I'm sorry. You know that he's going to want to sleep with you. That's what he says to her. And Sheridan's like, well, I'll just put him off. I'll make some sort of excuse. It's like, well, that's not going to last forever. Maybe 1 or 2 days. And Sheridan says, well, Antonio doesn't have forever. And Eve's like, she's right. He maybe only has a few weeks at most.
Yeah, I'll just jump on. They're all like, this is the way. This is the thing we're all doing.
It's like he only has a few weeks at the most. And what kills me about this is it started out as a conversation about how they would eventually tell Antonio the truth. And then it became, we're never going to tell him the truth. We're just going to let him die thinking that he's engaged to me.
The weird vibe that he can't put his finger on that torments him. He dies.
It started in a place where I was like, okay, this is a conversation that makes sense that we can have. And then it turned into, to me, something a little way more sinister, which is like, he doesn't have a month to live. Just let Sheridan, pretend to be his wife / girlfriend / fiance or whatever for the next 4 weeks. And then he'll be dead and y'all can.
They're like, and she may have to make love to him, but like that'll just be for a couple weeks. Like that's kind of their reasoning, because they're all saying it. They're not being like, but you can't sleep with him. They're all saying, I think you should sleep with him. That's like implied, right? Don't you think so?
I agree. That is implied.
Like, oh, okay.
And that's why Luis is getting so upset, because it is implied that there's just supposed to be placating him for the next 4 weeks. And part of that would be Sheridan sleeping with him.
Him her life. So that means everything.
What's a little, they already done it a few times, but no, I'm joking.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think like, yeah, I don't know. I could see her not minding it, but it's the Luis that makes it weird.
Yeah, Luis is the problem here.
Yeah.
I'm joking. The problem here is Antonio, obviously. Just die already.
Right? He's so annoying.
Just die already. So anyway,
his reaction when he started to hear the truth, like him being like, huh, and like the monitor going crazy, and like he was like, it's just so embarrassing. It's just like, have some dignity. Like, I don't know. They didn't even get to the worst part of it, and he was already starting to freak out.
Yeah, well, and we're gonna talk about it in just a moment, because after Eve says, we all need to do whatever we can to make Antonio happy while he's still with us. That's what Eve says. I'm sorry, no, Sheridan. Sheridan says that. Sheridan says we all need to do whatever we can to make Antonio happy while he's still with us. To do anything else would just be cruel. So again, it sounds like she's saying we got to do what we got to. I got to do what I got to do. I'm gonna
I'll do my part. You guys do your part. That's what she's saying. Yeah, and that's her part in the thing.
I'm willing to take one for the team.
Yep.
And for the good of Antonio. And so they go back and forth about her sleeping with him for quite a while. She says she'll try to stall him and that he's dying because of her. And so she feels very guilty because if he wouldn't have even been in that car or had that crash if she hadn't had those gambling debts. But actually, that Nick guy wouldn't even have been after her or trying to use her if he wasn't trying to get at Brian in the first place, right? Like Brian is the fault.
She has nothing. She doesn't owe him anything. Like she's already given him a lot more than I thought that she should throughout the time they've been friends and whatever.
Brian and Nick had beef, and it was going to be that regardless. It didn't have anything to do with Sheridan. And so for her to think that it's her fault, because the first excuse she gives is that he saved her life and she owes him her life. Okay, fine. But then it becomes, well, he wouldn't even be dying if it wasn't for me. It's like, that's actually not true. This isn't your fault. Nick had beef with Brian. He was going to get him one way or the other. This is just the way he just went through you to get there, but that's not your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's the show they guilt themselves a lot. They put a lot on themselves in the show. They make themselves sick with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And on top of that, he was the one that got in the car. You begged him not to. Liz begged him not to. Yeah. He made that decision for his fucking self. So that irritates me that now that's like the new line of dialogue. Her new line of defense is saying, well, this is my fault. He's dying because of me anyway.
Once they say that too, it's like once they say that, that's the lore. So it's like, that now that that is what everyone's going to say. Like, well, it's like on Sheridan. They all think that now that Sheridan's kind of said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this was funny. So she says that she'll stall him and that he's dying because of her. And then Louise asks Eve, Dr. Russell, isn't there some way that we can be honest with Antonio without killing him? I love that line. Isn't there some way we can be honest with Antonio without killing him is probably the episode title. It's so funny to me.
Yeah, I thought there were a few really funny moments in this batch.
Yeah, there were just ridiculous lines. Truly ridiculous lines. And she says telling him the truth would definitely hasten his death.
Certainly hasten his death. The way she said it cracked me up.
Yep. And
it's so not true. Stop lying to you.
Well, and it's like he's dying.
Yeah, he's gonna die in a month. So I don't know. It's just crazy. It will certainly kill him. Yes, the way she said it.
Yeah, it's absolutely true that this will kill him.
Well, yeah. If you do that, it will. That's what she's saying. So then they have to keep the secret, or they're knowingly killing this person. That's what the story is.
Yeah, I hate this. Pilar,
Chad, like in Chad love triangle. It's the same thing with like. Mm-hmm. It happens with other things. The whole time I was watching, I kept being like, they're doing this here again, like where they can't move because they don't want to hurt someone, like because it might really damage them, and it's like crazy. It's like that's their one plot thing that they use a lot.
Yeah, they decided this was the year we were gonna just really lean into. We're not gonna tell the truth because we don't want to hurt someone.
Yeah,
whoever it is. Yeah, they are leaning very heavily on that in 4 out of the storyline, 3 out of the 4 storylines at this point.
Yeah, it happened. Yeah,
because it's happening with Simone, it's happening with Chad. It's happening with Simone, it's happening with Kay and Miguel, and it's happening here.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's ridiculous. Like I said, I'm bored. I'm bored with it.
No, I see what you're saying about it being boring.
Yeah. So Pilar sides against Luis, obviously. I mean, that is her kid. She's in a really, really tough position. And then he says, so this is where the prostituting comes in. He says, so basically what you're saying is that Sheridan should prostitute herself so Antonio won't be upset.
I guess he's saying the truth, though. I mean, he really did just say that's what it is, and he's right. And then what did he say back?
Yeah, well, Pilar's like, that's not what I said. I would never suggest a woman prostitute herself for anyone for any reason.
Right.
And and she's like, but you're asking me to choose between two of my children, and I can't do that. I love you, Luis, and I love Antonio, but I don't want to see either of you hurt. And that's when Luis says, well, one of us will definitely be hurt.
And I already am, now that you guys are suggesting this plot. Like, Luis is totally hurting. Like, he's like, this is horrible for him.
Yeah, he's in horrible pain.
Yeah.
And he says one of us is definitely going to get hurt. And if Sheridan takes Antonio back to the cottage and fucks him, then all three of us will be hurt. Right. And the three women just keep trying to appeal to Luis. He's really not having it. But then Pilar says, I've already lost so many years with my son. And Luis, I loved this. He really was not having it. He said, and whose fault is that?
Right. No, it's so true, Luis. Yes.
Yeah. He's like, he's the one that ran out on us. Right. And we never got a postcard, a phone call, nothing. I'm with Luis. I am with Luis. Tell him the truth.
Tell the truth. I don't like Brian. And I just think it's crazy to expect anyone to pretend to be in love. Like, it's just so weird. I don't know. I can't state it enough how weird I think it is.
Child. Then Pilar's like, you have a lifetime of happiness ahead of you with Sheridan. Antonio only has a few weeks. Don't take what little time he has left. I hated all of this.
It's so guilty. It's just like, wow, now he really can't say anything. You just like guilted the crap out of him.
Luis has been mourning the loss of Sheridan for 9 months.
Right. And going crazy because of it, like losing his mind a bit because he broke him so hard.
He has been mourning the loss of Sheridan. And she died in such a violent way. Yeah. And then he went out on the open ocean in the middle of a huge hurricane.
Actually tried to kill himself. He wasn't trying to kill himself, but he really was like suicidally looking for her.
Yeah, he was like, if I can't be with her, what's the point of me ever coming back in from the ocean, right? Like, what's of going back to the shore if I can't find her out here?
Knock him out, like, to get him to stop.
Yeah. And so he was really messed up. And I think to ask him to kind of turn on a dime is too much. To ask him this, I think this is a huge ask.
It's crazy.
And to lay it at his feet, like Antonio he doesn't even like Antonio, but he does be clear. Luis says multiple times, I love my brother. I don't want him to die. I hate this.
I don't want to hurt him.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt him. I don't want him to die, but I don't want him sleeping with my fiancé.
Yeah, the thing. But despite all that,
but I do have a hard line in the sand.
There's a line here, and you guys don't seem to see it. I don't know why you don't see it.
Yeah, you're blurring the line. You're blurring the boundary, and I'm setting it. And the boundary for me is firm and hard, and like there is no blurring it.
It reminds me of like Disney movie, like a Disney movie. Plot from back in the day where it's like the whole thing is built on a premise that's like that would never happen, but okay, whatever. That's
my god, DComs.
Yeah.
Luck of the Irish. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes, exactly. Love that.
And so anyway, Luis eventually, after being beaten down, he finally relents and says that, but he says, you know what? I'll go along with this, but I'm not going to lie to him. If he asks, then I'm going to tell him the truth. Interesting. Because then Hank comes running in and he's like, and this annoyed me. Hank is annoying. Hank comes running in. He's like, no time to explain. We need to go see Antonio right now. Except you should absolutely explain that he thinks that Sheridan is engaged to somebody else. Right, yeah. That he has found that information out.
That's why he's actually having trouble right now. Yeah.
And so anyway, they all rush over to the ER and Eve tells Antonio to calm down and he needs to get back in bed because he's like trying to get out of bed. He's so upset. Now, this is what I was thinking. He's already upset. Tell him now.
Yeah. He's expecting the worst. That's right.
Yeah, he's expecting bad news. Tell him now. Now's
Also,
the time.
he couldn't kill Louise because he's like dying. So it's like Louise won't kill him if the truth comes out. Then Brian can't kill him because he's dying. So it's like, just say it. Just say the thing that needs to be said.
Yeah, just say it right now. He's already upset. He was like punching the pillows. He was really upset.
So it was like throwing a tantrum. It was like, I can't believe the whole room is acquiescing. Is that the right way to say it to this person?
Yeah. To this little
Little
bitch. I shouldn't say bitch. I'm trying.
I know, but I wanted to too. That's the only word that I thought of as well. But it's like
I'm trying not to use like I'm trying to like deconstruct my internal patriarchy or whatever. Yes. And so I'm trying not to use like feminine words as insults.
Yes.
But sometimes
hard. Yeah, it is hard. It's because you've like been doing it for so long. And he is being that way.
Yeah.
That thing.
He's being a toddler. He's being a little shit. He's being shit. He's being a little shit. Let's say that.
Yeah.
And so when they get there, he's like punching the pillows, and he tells them that Miguel told him that Sheridan was already engaged, and he demands to know who she's engaged to. He's getting all worked up,
freaking everyone out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like his little like blood pressure monitor or whatever starts to like beep, and and so he's like, who's the guy, Sheridan? Who is this that you're engaged to? And so Sheridan like sits down and like very calmly tries to tell him this is a man that I met long before I knew you. He changed my life. He was so different from any other man I had ever met. He wasn't after me for my money or the Crane name. His only interest was me. It was love at first sight. In fact, it was quite the opposite. She says it wasn't love at first sight. Sorry. It wasn't love at first sight. In fact, it was quite the opposite, but there was something there, a spark, and the hint of the deep attraction that would draw us together. And that's exactly what happened. We were drawn to each other. And then Antonio's like blood pressure starts to go up, and Eve's like, his pressure's going up. You need to stop. And but Antonio insists she keep going, and she says, well, I was so in love with this man, and we were so committed to each other that we planned on getting married and spending the rest of our lives together. And then his pressure beep 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 goes off again, and Eve's like, you really need to stop. And Antonio's like, no, consequences be damned. And then Sheridan just blurts out the name of the man because he's like, I need to know, who's this man? Tell me. And she says, Jean-Luc.
Yeah, Jean-Luc.
Ooh, Jean-Luc, girl. First of all, let me say, I did appreciate the callback. I love that they remembered something in Passions.
Yeah.
But I hated this.
It's also just like saying his name in connection to her soulmate. It's like blasphemous. But whatever. Yeah. We're just trying to get him to chill. It works. Yeah,
it works. She tells him his name was Jean-Luc and he's dead. Half true, half false, right? Yeah. His name was Jean-Luc. She wasn't in love with him, but he is dead.
Right. Things kind of happened.
And then Antonio like calms down. He gets so happy. I don't know. I didn't care for this. Way.
I hear you. It's like gross. Like, I'm not happy that he's happy.
At all. He gets so happy. And it's like, she just told you some pretty devastating news, right?
Also,
like,
read the vibe. Like, she's like clearly uncomfortable. Like, everyone is. So it's like, why are you so happy? Like, it's just a weird vibe in the room.
Yeah.
And she seems really weird. Like, she seemed very distant.
Yeah,
I would notice that pretty instantly, actually. If the person I would be like, what's happening? I can feel something weird.
Oh, absolutely. And he's like happy that Jean-Luc is dead. And then he's like, and great, that's great. He's dead. You and I are going to have a long, long life together, Sheridan. He keeps talking about how they're going to have a long life and how they're going to have a wonderful life together. Luis is in agony. Poor guy. Agony. He's in absolute agony over this whole situation. And he and Pilar like step out for a little bit. And Pilar says to him, my son, you must pray to God. I loved the speech that Luis gave her. He says, and this is so funny to me. He says, and what is it that I'm supposed to be praying for?
Right.
Because it's like, am I praying that Antonio fucking dies?
Like, I hope the sex is really bad. That's like all he can really pray for.
And then he says, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
He says, everyone's always talking about the evil in Harmony. Well, I've seen evil up close and personal. I fought demons from hell coming out of Charity's closet. I've seen Sam and Grace's house sucked into the ground. That evil I can deal with. But this, whatever it is, this.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is more subtle.
Yeah, he's like, this is keeping me and Sheridan apart. I mean, it's evil. It's more subtle, but it's every bit as powerful and destructive. I don't know. It's more subversive. He says, I want to fight it, but I don't know how. I don't know where it is. And if I did, I don't know how I would fight it. But if I could, I would crush it.
Yeah.
I loved this speech because it was true. Two, it cracked me up. One, the first point he makes about her saying pray to God, and he's like, for what? What am I praying for?
Pilar. Yeah.
What am I praying for? And then the whole bringing up Sam and Grace's house being sucked into the ground was hilarious, and fighting the demons out of Charity's closet.
Like, yeah, like it is crazy that stuff happened.
Yeah. And he's like, I know how to deal with those demons. I don't know how to fight this. But the thing is, the way they have made it on this show, they have written that like telling lies and being deceitful is evil, right? They have made that very clear. Like, not telling the truth invites evil into your life. Yeah. So by that logic and by that standard, then they have to tell Antonio the truth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're creating the evil, and that's why this is such a problem, right? Y'all are creating the evil by not being honest, by passion's logic.
Yeah. So he's basically talking about the thing that he's wanting to find to crush is like just all of them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like it's right in the room with me now. I almost feel like, and it's really.
The way they crush the evil though is just by telling the truth. Totally. It's like actually a simple. It's actually exactly a simple,
like how it is in real life. Soap opera rules or.
Yeah, y'all are creating the evil by not lying. I mean, by lying. To me, that's almost. And I know I'm definitely reading too much into this at this point.
Right.
However, if I'm looking at it through the lens of like the tenuous rules we have in passions, then it does stand to reason that part of the reason that y'all are in such turmoil and whatever this evil that you speak of is because y'all are lying to Antonio.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I
think it makes sense. No, it makes logical sense to me too.
Yeah, that's their rule, not mine. I don't think it's necessarily evil to lie to people, but
black and white. Yeah.
But yeah.
In the show, they're pretty horrible people. I was actually wondering when I was watching it, like if people who watch soap operas like too much like ever started getting kind of dramatic or like extra like kind of just because they were inspired by it. Like I was just like, these people are mad. Like the level of like what's the word, hysteria or whatever, and just like the bad things they're willing to do. It's like I could see someone getting confused morally if they watched it a lot and were susceptible to that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Like, I can talk to someone a little bit like this, right? And it's like, no, that's not normal. Don't do that.
Absolutely. I think there's people, in like every fandom who are just kind of like, you ever meet a person, you're like, that, that's not real, right? Like,
right. And that's not my reality, right? Like, yeah, I don't.
Like they love something so much. And they get so wrapped up in it and they make a lot of their life about it. I could definitely see this being influential on someone who like really
watch it and it's like addictive. It's like, like watch it like every day. I don't know.
Yeah. So, but hopefully they're teaching people right from wrong. They're saying, look like when you don't tell the truth.
Not as we do. Yeah.
So, Anyway, this is when Theresa, Ethan, and Gwen show up. We will talk more about what happened before all of this, but basically they show up. Pilar and Eve like rush them out of the room because Theresa sees Sheridan. She's thrilled to see her. Ethan sees her. He's so over the moon to see his used to be aunt. And Teresa's like, I'm gonna throw you a party, and before they can even talk about like Luis being so happy, blah, 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 Eve and Pilar rush them, all three of them, out of the room to bring them into the lie. Mm-hmm. And so they tell Theresa that her brother that she just got back is dying.
Right.
And then they tell her, but you have to stay strong. You can't let Antonio know that anything is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they say, you also can't tell him anything about Luis or Sheridan's relationship. The shock could kill him, girl.
And she immediately understood. She's like, I've had that happen to me as well. I had that too. I got it.
It's just so ridiculous. So then Teresa's understandably shaken by all the news she just got. She
deals with trauma like not well, but also she can handle a lot of trauma. Like she kind of takes it on board and she's like, okay, like this is what she has to do.
She really does put on a brave face. Like she
actually like does that thing where she's like,
exactly. She's like changes her face with her hand, like a little magic swipe across her face. Yeah. And so she puts on her brave face and goes back in. Antonio starts talking about this party. He's all excited. Luis says he will not be in attendance. And Antonio's like, why? Oh, I know why. It's because you hate the Cranes, right? Well, Sheridan's a Crane. You don't hate Sheridan, do you? Shut up.
He's so stupid.
Brother, this guy stinks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Who is that? Is that, what's his name?
It's from SpongeBob.
Okay. It sounds like Patrick. What's his name? Whatever.
I don't know. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that voice actor is. All I know is it's a clip from SpongeBob that I say all the time. And I'm so glad I finally put it back on the.
So nice to have sound clips. I wish you could do that, like as you walk about and just like talk to people throughout the day. It would be nice to have like sound effects at the ready.
I don't know. I feel like people would not take that well.
I don't care. I know. Yeah, I see that. I was
so yeah, he's like, well, Sheridan's a Crane and you don't hate Sheridan, do you? You're gonna have to get over it because we're Sheridan's gonna be our family and she's a Crane and shut up. And then he like grabs he grabs Luis's hand and Sheridan's hand and he puts Sheridan's hand in Luis's hand and says, I want the two of you to become close and really get to know each other.
Yeah, he made them touch hands and stuff.
It was so weird and uncomfortable.
It was weird and awkward for them.
Yeah, poor Theresa is watching this and she's so shaken up by it.
It reminded me of you calling her a nervous chihuahua because she was doing that. She was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And they were like, Jill, stop reacting.
She was shaking. She was shaking.
Really upset. And I was like, of course, it's very weird. If my family pulled me into a thing like that and said, this is what we're doing, I would just be like, I'm not doing that. I wouldn't be able to do it. So I would just like, I can't participate.
She only had 10 seconds to adjust to this new reality, right? Like she hasn't even had time to adjust to this lie, right?
It's a crazy, shocking thing to learn. And then they were like, but don't react to what we just told you at all. Also lie with it. Yeah.
Ethan puts his arm around her and like comforts her, saying that she's got to be brave for Antonio's sake. And he like kisses the top of her head. I just want to say that he kisses the top of her head. Gwen is looking on notably sour. Mm-hmm. Understandably so. I would be a little sour too.
If I were her.
But I would not be sour at Theresa. I'd be sour at Ethan because what are you doing kissing her head?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So we will return to Theresa and Ethan shortly. But let's finish up with Sheridan and Luis. So Luis, Sheridan, Antonio, Pilar, they all end up going back to the cottage. This is another reason why Eve is a villain. she should have had him admitted to the hospital. Just like at least for like overnight observation, right? Like I know they're trying to, because another thing I haven't said is Eve has told him he's fine, right as rain, nothing to be worried about.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy. This man is terminal.
Yeah.
And any little thing could kill him. You don't think he deserves to know that kind of information?
Actually, kind of like sending someone out with like a loaded, I don't know, not a gun, a grenade, and not telling them that was a thing. Like
it's like giving somebody a gun and saying it's a toy gun.
Right. And being like, play Russian roulette with this. This is a toy gun.
Yeah, it's like giving them a real loaded gun and telling them it's a toy gun. That's what she did. Eve is never beating the villain allegations. Ever. I'm sorry. I know some people love Eve. Really? And I don't hate Eve. I want to be clear. I don't hate Eve. I think Eve is like such a necessary character. And I think she's such an important character. But what I hate is that they have like painted her as
like she's actually a good person with like good character and stuff.
Yeah, and like she's a good person with good character, and that like these kinds of decisions that she makes, that they're the right decisions. That pisses me off so bad.
That's weird. Well, not weird. Sorry to anyone listening that feels that way.
No, it is weird. I think she has told this man that he's right as rain and nothing is wrong with him, and yet everybody knows that the littlest thing could kill him.
Yeah. They're like, go put your clothes back on, go out into the world, into the most stressful family ever. Go have fun.
Yeah. So she should have, in my opinion, she should have at least told him, you know what, the tests are inconclusive. We need to run more tests. We need you to stay overnight for observation. I want you to see a specialist. It should have been more like that. But instead, she just sends him home. To fuck Sheridan, knowing that, and she could have at least done a solid for Sheridan and Louise.
For Sheridan, exactly. I was just gonna say that it would have helped the whole situation if she could be like, for the next couple weeks, I want you on bed rest here. But she didn't. She was like, good luck.
Good luck. I'm not telling you what you have. I am not saying what you should or shouldn't do. But if you don't have sex with Antonio, he might figure out something's wrong and he might die. Bye. Good luck.
I'm saying he should pick up the vibe that like it's someone he knows, but more than that, he should pick up the vibe that he's about to die, because everyone is like gonna cry every time he's like, we have a long life ahead of us. Everyone's like,
yeah, every time he says like, yeah, we have a long life, everybody's looking at each other, giving each other real guilty looks, starting to cry, taking out the Kleenex. Yeah.
And they're like, that's right, son, you do.
No, that's so true. He should catch on at least that something's going on with his health.
He wouldn't, because he is that kind of character where he's not.
Yeah. But in a way, I can't even completely blame him, since Eve has told him nothing is wrong with him.
Like the authority figure is telling him that. So yeah.
That's ridiculous. His doctor has told him nothing is wrong with him and he is terminal. Okay, so within the next few weeks, she thinks he will die.
So he can't get his affairs in order. Like he needs to like get his stuff together, and she's like robbing him of that. No.
Yeah. Okay. So then they all go back to the cottage. It's all very uncomfortable. Antonio talks about having babies and that they need to get started right away. And when he says that, Louise has like a glass and he shatters it in his hand.
It's like, why didn't that at all raise any hairs? Like he's just Antonio says, oh wow, what happened? Must have had, you know what, the glass must have had a hairline fracture in it or something. Must have been. Yeah, Antonio. Yeah, he's so funny. Louise, actually.
It's ridiculous. So then Antonio like goes off to do something. I don't know. He's taking his stuff to Sheridan's bedroom. Right. he's moving in. Right. And so Louise tells Pilar to keep Antonio busy for a while he takes the woman he loves outside to get a little time alone. And so they go outside. They steal kisses from each other. They're, making out. for a little bit outside until Pilar comes to break up the fun. She's like, Sheridan, you need to go back inside. Antonio's asking for you. And then Luis tells Pilar, you know what, I've made up my mind that if Antonio tries to sleep with Sheridan, then I'm going to tell him the truth. Consequences be damned. And it's like,
I also tell him beforehand because it's gonna happen. It's happening.
The best place and time to tell him was at the hospital, where they could have done something for him if something went wrong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like they should. Now that they've left the hospital, they should plan a day to take him back to the hospital so they can tell him the truth.
You're right. Yeah, because if he started having like palpitations and stuff, you're right.
Yeah, and my thing with Eve too, and another thing about Eve.
Yeah,
my thing with Eve too is that she's saying that, oh, you know, he might die. He likely will die if you tell him the truth. Any little thing will set him off and he'll die. But you know what? Charity was all fucked up. You managed to save her life, right? Yeah, you used Timmy to do it, but you managed it. I'm not saying she wouldn't be able to manage to save Antonio's life, or that she would definitely be able to save his life, but I feel like she's the best doctor in town, right? Like, she figures something out to at least keep him on a life support or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is going to be a dark joke. I'm going to say it. Just go. Everybody just go with it. If Antonio ended up on life support and the life support was like good enough to keep him alive, right? Mm-hmm. That's better than what Pilar has had the last 10, 15 years. She hadn't seen right? Like,
and reading books while he's just like,
well, at least he's still there.
At least you know he's not dead.
Yeah, at least you know where he is.
If he's alive or not. Like, she really didn't. People told her that he was dead, probably.
Yes.
I don't think so, but she didn't know.
A lot of people thought he was dead. And she was like, no, I'm going to light a candle for my son every night and he'll be back. And he came back and now he's probably going to die. So, anyway.
About that, though, that he won't.
Oh. It's like, you haven't seen it, have you?
No.
Oh. I'm so glad there was something I was going to say earlier, and I'm so glad I didn't.
I feel like you're one of those people, and I'm Brian, and you're just like hiding something from me. You're like, oh, it's all right. You don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he definitely is not going to die fast enough. I'll say that.
Okay.
So
I'm just so happy to see Luis and Sheridan together. I really like them as a couple. Like, you know how sometimes couples just like, you're just like, oh, even though I know
they belong together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Luis and Sheridan together too. I actually really hate this storyline. So, let's see. Which actually, I have hated this storyline since Brian showed up on my screen. Like, the moment he showed up, I have hated this.
I don't know if it's the actor or just the character. I think it has to be both, because I really don't like him. I really don't. Like, I like Eve. I don't like him.
Yeah. So, at the cottage, Sheridan goes back inside. Luis and Pilar leave. Luis, begrudgingly, he leaves, but he does leave. And then Sheridan tries her best to ward off all of Antonio's sexual advances. He keeps trying to like make moves on her, kiss her neck, get her out of her clothes. And she keeps trying to tell him like, no. And then finally she very forcefully says, like, hey, I said no, right?
Yeah, she freaks out after just pretending to kind of, and then she's like, I said no. And he's like, what?
Yeah. She gives a very clear no.
He like also was being annoying, and he also, when she first said no, he was like, all right, well, you owe me one then. It's like, shut up, like shut up.
Yeah, but I hate him. He says,
if he said that though, I wouldn't have even registered it, but because Brian did, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, oh, you owe me one. Ugh, yuck.
Shut up.
So he says to her, you know, I'm sorry, she apologized. She says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snap at you. It's just that I don't want to be late to this party that Theresa's throwing for them.
Yep.
And he agrees. He's like, oh, okay, I guess, you know, we are the guests of honor, so we shouldn't be late to our own party. And he's like, I'm gonna go take a shower. And he says, oh, but you know what, you can come and take a shower with me. And she's like, no, I don't want to do that. I think you'll just get distracted.
That's by you. That's the vibe.
Yeah. And so he goes to take a shower, and he goes and gets in the shower, and then she starts to undress because she's changing her clothes. He comes back as she's undressing after she's clearly given him a very clear, strong, firm no. I'm not in the mood. I'm not into it. Like, regardless of this whole stupid ass storyline where she's trying not to sleep with him or whatever. Even if they were in a relationship, a real relationship where there was no Luis or anything,
Just was rushing to the party. If her lie was true, it would still not be okay, right?
It still would not be okay. It's still, I'm not in the mood. What are you not getting about it?
That wasn't like a couple. She said it like 2 or 3 times before then he came back and was like, oh, like that. So that would be like the 4th time or something.
Yeah. And you are crossing a very dangerous line.
He also just kind of forcefully does it. Like, he just makes it start to happen. And it's
he
like, oh,
just
okay.
makes it. Yes. He just kind of forces it. And I really hated this.
I do too. It had the vibe of like, she'll melt into it eventually. And I hate that kind of thinking is really creepy. And, yeah.
She has already said no to you multiple times. So then he comes back as she's undressing, comes up behind her, starts grabbing her, kissing her on her neck. And she's telling him no. She says, Antonio, like no. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she tenses up, her body tenses up, and he says, come on, it's just that I have missed you so much, and it's been so long since we've made love. He says, I don't care about if we're late to that damn party. And she again says, Antonio, no. But he just keeps kissing her. He starts kissing her, and he like guides her to the bed, and she is very tense and uncomfortable. She doesn't know what to do.
Right.
And then Luis comes in and watches for a moment before she realizes that Luis is there watching them.
So awkward.
And so they stop, and Antonio tells Luis to take a hike.
You see Sheridan's face when he said that? Like, she was like, I wanted to screenshot it to show you, because like her face was hilarious. She was like, oh my God, Luis is actually going to kill him. I can't believe you just said that to Luis. And I can't either. God, the nerve of him. It's like, oh, he's going to kill you. You don't know.
Yeah, she was mortified because Antonio's like, bro, what are you doing here? Take a hike. And Luis like throws something at him. He's like, you left this in the car. And Sheridan very quickly hops out of bed and like puts a robe on because Antonio is fully naked and Sheridan was in like her slip. Mm-hmm. And so she jumps out of the bed and she goes, Antonio, I forgot about this part. Antonio tells Luis, hey, you're coming to the party, right? You're bringing Beth, right? Bring Beth to the party. I would love for the 4 of us to hang out. And it was all just so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sheridan pulls Luis because he's pissed. He's like ready to blow it all up. Mm-hmm. So she pulls him into the living room while Antonio goes to take a shower. And Luis is like, I'm going to tell him. I have to tell him. And Sheridan says, you can't tell him because it will kill him. And she says, I'll never be able to look Pilar in the eye again if Antonio dies because of our relationship. And then she also says, I will always know that I killed her firstborn son and she will know it too. I was like, God,
way to put it a lot on yourself, Sheridan. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah. Get over yourself. You killed her firstborn son. No, that's not true. That's
like,
not
also,
true.
You're married to her other son and like you have kids with him. And like, it's just like, okay, you killed her for, it's just very dramatic.
Yeah. So she successfully convinces Luis not to say anything. And then he punches a wall. Didn't love that. Didn't love that. I never loved that. I hate that.
That's like a immediate out for me in real life, but him punching a wall, it makes sense for the character 100%. That's right up his alley.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it harkens back to an older Luis. Like we've seen a lot of character development through Luis, and I feel like
you don't like it. It's out of character for him.
I think it was in character for him before Sheridan became so close.
Yeah.
And I think his relationship with Sheridan gave him a lot of growth as a person and as a character. And I just feel like at this point, that's not something that Luis, the new Luis would necessarily do, but it's definitely something the old Luis would do. And I just don't love that. But I guess it's just he's like reverting to his baser self, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, he doesn't have Sheridan. So it's like he's taking away the thing that.
Yeah, that makes him better.
I guess. Yeah.
I guess.
It doesn't make sense, but I'm just like saying what I think the show is thinking, because like a lot of it, I'm like, that's not what is actually happening, but that's what's happening in the story.
Yeah, that's what they're telling us is happening.
Right.
So then she like tries to calm him down, saying she loves him with all her heart and that he's the one she wants to be with.
I really thought they'd get caught in that scene. I thought they were going to get caught.
Yeah, well, don't hold your breath. She says, but Antonio could die. And then Luis leaves. He's sad, but he leaves. And Antonio comes back again and tries to get physical with Sheridan again. And this time Luis is like watching through the window.
Right.
Yeah, so that's really all I have on them this week. At one point, Pilar has a short conversation with Ivy where it almost was reminiscent of how they were in the early episodes, kind of sharing with one another about their kids.
Yeah.
But then that tension comes right back in because Ivy starts talking about how she'll never let Theresa be with Ethan and blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Yeah. But I thought it was a nice moment to note, but there's nothing to it for this week. But you got anything to add for this storyline before we move on?
I don't.
Well, all right. And you know what? I didn't even use I guess it wasn't a great week to use the Sharice music, but I used it there we go. I used it. It was not a Blum Blum week at all. It was the anti-Blum Blum week.
It really was. It should be in reverse. Like it'll sound demonic. It'll be perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So we're moving on to our fated couples. Let's just very quickly talk about Chad and Whitney. I only have 2 notes, but I do want to talk about it because it comes up in Magic a little bit. So, Chad and Whitney are walking along the wharf and they're headed to the hospital with flowers for charity. And they talk about how rock solid their relationship is. I don't see it that way.
Like they're like hiding in the shadows as they say that. They're like, I can't believe we get to declare our love. And then someone passes by that almost maybe resembles her sister. And she's like, and like freaks out. Yeah,
he tries to kiss her and she pulls away from him because she sees another person walking by. So she's like, doesn't want to engage in PDA with him, saying like, oh, what if somebody sees us? Yada, yada, yada. They have the same old conversation about Simone and how they have to tell her the truth. But this time, Chad agrees not to tell Simone until Whitney is ready to tell Simone. So we're like back to where we were before.
Yeah, I liked that he said that though. I don't know.
You liked it?
I did, because I thought that it was like, I think he's so patient with her. I think too patient. Like, I don't think it makes any sense, but I kind of on some level think it's so sweet that he keeps being like, okay, like no matter what she's upset about, he's very empathetic about it.
Yeah, he's like, I love you and I want to be with you, and if this is what it takes, then that's what I'm gonna do. And I agree. I think there's something sweet about it for sure, but I also think it's just plain wrong.
I wouldn't be that way with Whitney. I think it's just plain wrong, and from a viewer standpoint, it's just freaking annoying because we're just going in circles. It's been like this since the very beginning with them.
Yeah, we're going in circles. We had really gotten somewhere with them. Yeah. Like she was ready to tell her whole family the truth. She was ready to tell Simone the truth.
Right.
But now we're back to square one, and I hate that so much. But yep, Chad agrees. What were we gonna say?
No, I just
Chad agrees not to say anything until Whitney's ready to say something, and Whitney says maybe there will be a time when she's more ready to hear the truth, and when it's not gonna hurt her so much.
It's
This
such
is stupid,
bullshit.
baby.
It doesn't make any sense. And like she's not dying, so it's like it makes no sense. It's so weird to do that to your sister. Her sister's also so weird. For like at some point, like she's like, Chad's here, and I know I love Chad, and I know Chad loves me. And it's like, what are you saying? Like she's so confident about it. She really feels it's like watching someone thinking they're dating a celebrity. Like that's what the vibe is.
Yes, like that episode of Catfish where that guy thought he was dating Katy Perry. Did you ever watch that?
I did. That's hilarious. I would love to watch something. I would love
They
to watch
like
that
flew
episode.
to England to meet Katy Perry. It's like, why would Katy Perry be in
And so
England?
they knew that like everyone knew that that wasn't true, and he the whole time was like, "It's happening," and then they got there and it
Yep.
wasn't real. I watched catfishing shows like back in the day, and they are sad.
Catfish, I used to watch Catfish avidly.
I used to love
And
it.
then
Yeah.
every once in a while I get into a mood and I'm like, you know what? I could go for some Catfish and I'll just watch binge whatever seasons I haven't watched. It'll be
like-
years. Like I haven't watched Catfish in years, but in probably in like 6 months, I'll be like, you know what? It's time to watch Catfish and I'll catch up on all the
I have
on the
shows like
seasons.
that. The host is funny too. Like not funny like cool, like funny like weird. Like there's something weird about the host, right?
Neve?
I think so.
I love Neve. It used to be
I'm gonna
Neve
look
and
it up.
Max, and now then it was Neve and Cammy, but then Cammy just left. So I don't know if Catfish is still on or not actually, but I like Neve. I think Neve's sometimes a little too nice to these Catfish people, but
Yeah, he feels bad for them.
he does.
Trying to like, yeah, and it's like that person was actually trying to steal $50,000 from them.
Well, you know what? Now we're in a Catfish conversation.
Yeah.
But a lot of times with Catfish is most of the time I'll say the Catfish aren't trying to like take money. A lot of times it really is like this really sad person who
Yeah,
doesn't like the way they look,
right.
and they use somebody and they've been catfishing using these old, like somebody else's pictures forever, right?
Right.
And they just have like taken on an online persona and they use it for
Living through that.
yeah,
Like,
just for like to communicate with people. But a lot of them like don't have a lot of friends in real life, and
that
just
is-
have,
well, then
yeah.
I can see why he was
Yeah.
kind of like that then.
it's sad. And you know what? The Catfish came from a movie. It was a movie because he himself got catfished.
That's right.
Yeah. And the lady that catfished him, it was like really sad. Like she was taking care of her sick husband, and it was sad.
Sad. People are just people. I just sad when people are people. I don't know. I'm just like, oh God, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, back to these sad
Oh,
people.
also wait, let me just add that
What?
as you're saying that, do you remember that like The Sims? Like they had like this one version where it was like online, like or whatever. Like it was like a chat room basically with the game The Sims, essentially. It was really cool. Whatever. I was
What,
like,
Second Life?
it wasn't Second Life. It
Oh,
was
okay.
like very similar to that, but it was like when I was 8 or something. And it was like I used to do that. I would I had like this older models like pictures, and I would like get people to give me their money on The Sims, not real money, but The Sims money. And I'd be like, give me your email address. I was like 8 and doing that. And so I guess I was catfishing people when I was 8 a little bit. It
Wow.
was to get like a fake TV and in like a computer game that wasn't real.
That's
So
hilarious.
yeah.
Sorry, my sound cut out. That's hilarious.
All right. What's next? Who's the next person?
Chad and Whitney, whatever, they said they can't tell her the truth until Whitney's ready, and Whitney says, you know, I can't tell her until that we're in love until she's ready to hear it, or it's stupid. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's now talk about Theresa and Ethan and Gwen. Ethan has gone out over to the cottage looking for Sheridan. This happens while Sheridan and Luis and Antonio and Pilar are all at the hospital.
Mhm.
So Pilar had called Theresa in the middle of finding out that her son was dying. She called Theresa to tell her that Sheridan was alive, but she neglected to tell her that Sheridan was engaged to Antonio, and Antonio was back, and Antonio was dying. She neglected to tell her all of that.
Right.
And so all Theresa knows is that Sheridan's alive. She tells Ethan, he's over the moon. He's like, I got to go and find her. He goes over to the cottage to see if she's there. And then he calls Theresa from the cottage, calls the mansion from the cottage saying, hey, Sheridan's not in the cottage. I don't know where she is. I can't find her. And Theresa's like, well, maybe she went for a walk on the grounds. Like, and he says, oh, that's a good idea. I'll go and look for her at her favorite place, the gazebo. And I just thought that was funny.
No, it's true. She does love that gazebo.
She loves that gazebo. And so then they hang up. And then Gwen, who's just sitting on the couch during all of this.
Yeah.
Gwen tells Theresa, hey, just so you know, just because Sheridan is alive doesn't mean your relationship with Ethan is alive as well. You'll never get Ethan back. Never. Okay, girl. Nobody even, like, I wasn't saying anything to you.
Why would her being alive mean that to Theresa? Theresa
did say that. I want to be clear.
Oh, she did? I kind of thought, okay, so
here's what happened.
Said, now that she's alive, this will help my relationship with Ethan?
Not exactly. What she said was, last week, Gwen has said to Theresa, Ethan doesn't trust you and it would take a miracle for him to ever get back with you.
Okay.
Then she finds out that Sheridan's alive and she says to Gwen, what was that you said? That it would take a miracle to bring my relationship back to life? Well, everybody said it would take a miracle for Sheridan to come back to life and she's back to life. So Theresa drew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she drew that through line. Right. And so that, yeah, but my thing with Gwen is and has always been and always will be that she has so much more than Theresa in every way, right? She's more educated than Theresa. She has more money than Theresa, right? Like she has Ethan at this point. She has everything at this point. Why not just leave it alone, right? Why add fuel to the fire that is Theresa?
Yeah, like anticipating that she's going to try to take Ethan and being obsessed with it, kind of.
Yeah, why not trust that Ethan, is going to be with you and that's the end of it,
Right. Yeah.
Instead of antagonizing Theresa every time you get the chance.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yes. I feel like Gwen also just has a lot as a human, like not compared to Theresa, but it's like she's like rich, beautiful. It's like, why are you doing this to yourself? I get that there's a whole like because her mom and her want to, but it just, I feel like it makes her look really weak and like it's like sad. Like it's like
beneath her.
Also, if like the guy you're with, it's like if you're worried about this shit at all, then there's a problem, and it's really not even worth thinking too much about because it's like, but she's like so determined. But I think it's a bad look. I think
it's beneath her. But yeah, she unsolicited goes over to Theresa and tells her, just because Sheridan's alive doesn't mean your relationship with Ethan is alive. I'm just letting you know. Fine, whatever. These two women go back and forth about whose relationship with Ethan is dead. Who cares? Gwen, like, oh God, these two women fighting over Ethan.
It happens
when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I loved this shit. As a grown up, I think I'm starting to hate it. I just like, I love to see them, doing things like powerful women, like when Theresa, gets her job and everything. I love to see that.
I thought she had a lot of power this episode. I loved her like vibe this episode. I like that she's just like taking the power that she has and using it so efficiently and effectively. It's like nice.
Absolutely.
I do. I think basically her and Gwen are too good for the situation. That's what I think too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And so they go back and forth about Ethan and whose relationship is dead. And then Gwen accuses Theresa of lying about Sheridan. She's like,
what's crazy. Yeah. I'm glad that got snuffed out quick because I feel like they could have made that a whole thing of yelling at Theresa and it's like she didn't lie.
Yeah, why would she ever lie about something so easily verifiable?
Right. It's pretty wild. Yeah. That
crazy.
Yeah.
And then Ethan comes in saying that he can't find Sheridan anywhere. And then Theresa says she'll call Louise. She calls around until she gets Hank on the phone, who tells her that they're all at the hospital. So they all go to the hospital, wherein they find out that Sheridan's alive. Theresa says she wants to throw a party for Sheridan at the mansion. Ethan's like, that's a great idea. And they have a cheerful reunion at the hospital. We've already talked about that. So now they go back to the mansion after being at the hospital.
Yes.
And Theresa starts decorating for this party, a Lopez Fitzgerald party. And she has a piñata put up. There's sombreros everywhere. There's ponchos all over the place. I was offended, but
I think that, yeah.
Like,
and also the way the cranes reacted to it, like, it's like saying it was lowbrow. It's like, what about it specifically is lowbrow? Like, what? Because it's not like they had like peanuts on the floor. So it's like, what are you talking about specifically?
Yeah, they call it lowbrow. They make some different, like, very racial comments about everything. I want to say this. On the part of passions, it was like they have not stated that Pilar is from Mexico. Right. And so I don't know. It just felt very like the fact that it was a piñata and like sombreros
that they thought was like Hispanic and stuff, just shit that they thought represented Pilar's culture, even though they haven't specified her culture, and it's just probably stuff from all over the place.
Yeah, and it's like, this is how Hispanic people have parties: ponchos, sombreros, and piñatas.
A piñata at every party.
Yeah, and she had 2 piñatas.
I didn't realize
she had a backup piñata.
Yeah, well, they good because they broke one. So
yeah. So yeah, she does all this. They're making fun of her. Then Ethan and Gwen show up and see like all the party decorations. And Ethan says that he likes it. He says it gives the place new energy and it really livens the place up a bit. And then Theresa and Ethan, have a little conversation off to the side with each other about her position in the Crane family and at Crane Industries, that she wants to get a job with Crane Industries, a real job with a real title. And she tells him, and I want you on my team. I'm going to get you a job too. He needs one.
Yeah, he needs one. And she's willing. She knows exactly what to do to make it happen. Like, she's like, I'll get the job and then I'll hire you as my assistant. Like, because she definitely couldn't do what she does in this episode.
Yeah. It was amazing. Rebecca starts to kind of feel weird about the whole. She's like, her antennas go up and she's going into like defense mode, right? Like she's about to like strike. And Gwen stops her and says, hey, don't worry about what Theresa's talking about. There's no way that Julian or Alistair will ever give her a position at Crane. I mean, they wouldn't even give me a position when I was engaged to Ethan. And I'm a business school graduate and I have my MBA. Theresa barely graduated high school.
Theresa's a shark and they can sense it. That's like, she's just a natural born, knows how to do it. So her school doesn't mean anything.
Her school, I think, obviously, in my opinion, I think Alistair's clearly up to no good here.
Of course, he's evil. Yeah.
Right. Alistair's clearly up to no good here. And he wouldn't let Ivy work there. He wouldn't let Sheridan, his own daughter, work at Crane.
I think why I love Theresa is because I feel like she knows that. She's willing to like jump into a pit and she knows that there's going to be, because she just has faith that she can get out of it. So she's willing to do anything. And it's like, she doesn't care that she's dealing with the devil because she's like, that's fine. I'll figure it out. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know
I know exactly what you mean. So she goes to the office and actually to your point too, I love to see Theresa get out of a mess. Like, I think that's the thing too, is she does have this insane faith in herself. Mm-hmm. And I do gravitate towards that. I think that's actually a really good point. She has this self-assuredness in her abilities to succeed in whatever she puts her mind to.
She's not intimidated by literally any person.
Yeah. And I do gravitate towards that. I think
my favorite thing.
You make a good point. I do gravitate towards that. I think that is another reason I like her more than I like Gwen.
Yeah.
So Julian is in his office. He calls Alistair. Alistair's like delighting in everything because Julian like has had like a fit about what's going on in his house, specifically like the piñatas and stuff.
Yeah, that was the last straw.
I think it was Ivy that really flew off the handle and started beating the shit out of the piñata and like made it explode.
Yeah.
These people are acting with zero dignity whatsoever. So he calls Alistair. Alistair's delighted with everything that's going on in the the mansion. He thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he says, because Julian tells him, also, I just want to let you know, Antonio's back in town. I think I'm going to get rid of him. And Alistair says, hands off of Antonio. He says that we can't be the ones to reveal the truth to him about Sheridan and Louise. I've decided it's better to use Louise's secret to keep him distracted. He won't have time to ask any questions about us. So whatever. He's like, let them deal with each other.
I just realized that's like kind of zombie Charity's game. So both the evil side is coming at it this week, I guess. I don't know what to call it. This like they're coming at it from the same angle, which is don't actually do the thing because they're gonna like rip themselves apart, and we don't. It helps us for them to be going crazy.
Yeah. It's good for us. We don't have to do anything. There's no labor involved. They'll take care of it themselves, and it'll keep as long as he's distracted by the whole Sheridan and Antonio of it all, he will not be sneaking around the mansion and snooping around here looking for answers about his father, right? Yeah. So this is good for us. Mm-hmm. So we need to keep Antonio alive, unfortunately. Yeah. So this is when Theresa bursts into the office with everyone else. Everybody follows behind her to see, because everybody wants to see what happens.
Don't think it's gonna go well.
Yeah. And Julian says, hey, I'm on the phone with my father. And Theresa's like, well, that's exactly the person I want to speak to. And so she grabs the phone, puts him on speakerphone, and she tells him what she wants, that she wants a job, a real job with real power at Crane Industries. And then the camera pans to Rebecca, Ivy, and Gwen, and they all have their own little one-liner. So Rebecca first says, Rebecca first says, it'll never happen. Ivy then says, I wish I could see Alistair's face. And then Gwen says, ooh, I hope he yells at her. No. But they're all shocked and stunned by what Alistair has to say. He says, now that you're a Crane, you should know all there is to know about the family business. I believe you'd make a most attractive addition to the top rung of our organization. Right.
She would be, if he could get her on his side, she would be a great asset to have for all the reasons that we were just talking about. I don't think that's his game necessarily, but he really could use someone like her on his team of evil humans. But
yeah, absolutely. And because Theresa, he knows what Theresa's motivations are. He knows what Theresa wants, right? Yep. And he knows that he can use her while she uses him in pursuit of what she wants, right? So he says to her, congratulations, Theresa. You've just been appointed our newest vice president. I look forward to working with you. So congratulations, Theresa. Girl, you got the job. Where's my applause button? Woo! She's the vice president.
Do the other one.
This one.
That's more appropriate.
Yeah. Madam Vice President. So she's jumping for joy. She's so excited. Everybody else in the room is stunned and confused. They don't know what's going on. Ivy gleans that Alistair's up to something. She's like, I don't know what it is, but Alistair's up to something. This is not legit.
Yeah.
Julian takes exception with Alistair. He's like, I can't believe you would let this happen. Alistair tells him, I'm not the fool. You are.
Yeah.
It's like, he says, we need someone on the team who's quicker on the uptake than you are, Julian.
That's right.
And he says, I have no ulterior motives behind it. That, he says, there's nothing more to it. Yeah, sure, buddy. Sure. So later on, Theresa goes upstairs, sees about her baby, and talks to her mother, and she tells her mother that all of her plans are falling into place, and that Alistair agreed to let her have a job, and that she's going to give Ethan back everything that was taken from him. And Pilar says, Ethan doesn't care about being a Crane. I wish this would get through to Theresa. Ethan hasn't mentioned being a Crane in over 400 episodes at this point, I feel like.
It's like hurt for him, and he doesn't care.
He doesn't fucking care anymore. He actually, I think it seems to me, he also now kind of hates the Cranes.
Loves that he's not a Crane. Yeah, it's like setting free of it. So
yeah, she needs to get that through her fucking skull, but she's been stuck on that since Bermuda. She's been stuck on, I'm gonna make
why she she didn't sleep with Julian, but you know what I mean? Like that was the motivation for her going there. She needed like him to be, and it's like, okay. So you're right. Yeah, she's really into that.
Yeah. But Pilar's like, Ethan doesn't care about being a Crane, and his values are stronger than those based on fortune and power. Theresa says, Mama, everyone loves power, including Ethan. Okay.
Hey, do you look? Yeah.
I can't say she's completely wrong. And we'll see how things wash out. We'll see how it plays out. I'm gonna put a pin in that little statement because I'm not like Ethan enjoyed the power he had when he had it, right?
He definitely yielded it without knowing it. But but I don't think of him as a person who really wants it even back. So it's like that isn't a love for power. That's like it was nice while it lasted.
Yeah, you're right. It was nice. It was nice while it lasted. And then she says, well, he was raised to run all the Crane holdings and he may not complain about what he lost, but I know that that doesn't mean he doesn't miss it. She says his life was shattered partly because of me, and I'm going to make up for my mistake by giving him back what was taken from him. Ethan will be mine and nothing will take him away from me. Theresa, oh God, I love her. I do. I get where she's coming from. Like, I understand the plan to an extent. I don't agree with the plan because, as you just stated, and as we talked about last week, I have been given no indication that Ethan gives a shit about power and money, and that's really something that is attractive to him
outside of being not homeless. Yeah, I don't think he doesn't want to be like living in Pilar's house. That's pretty much that's his line that he drew.
Yeah. And here's my thing about Ethan. He could move somewhere else with Gwen and get a job, start over somewhere else. Like right now, he hasn't been able to get a job because like Alistair blackballed him, I guess. Yeah. But there has to be somewhere like in the Midwest. You know what I mean? Somewhere in the Midwest where he could get a decent job. Yeah. And also, what about the fact that Gwen's father runs a whole fucking industry, right? They have Hotchkiss Industries or whatever. Why can't he get a job for her father?
Right. And almost like stick it to the other side that way. Like, I don't know. And then also she, as she said, has like education. She has all this stuff where she's going to be powerful. And it's like she could just hook him up with a job the same way Teresa's hoping that she might be able to. Like, it's like Gwen can do that.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when she did like hook him up with a colleague of hers and he had a job interview. And somebody correct me. I could be wrong about this. I do not fully remember because it's been a while, but I do remember she set him up with an interview with someone she knew. And the interview went well, but he didn't realize it was someone she knew. And so he refused to like take the job because he wanted to get it on his own merit. So Theresa going in and let's be clear, not really earning a VP job at Crane Industries, right?
Yeah.
So her going in, not earning this job, and then just handing him a job seems like he would refuse that outright. He refused a job that he actually interviewed for and won just because Gwen had set up the interview.
Right. So was he going to take favors from the family that kicked him out and all this crap?
Yeah. Ethan is a weird character, a character that I don't really care for that much, but I'm interested to see how this goes. And we're going to let's all remember collectively that whole thing with him not getting that job that Gwen set up. Let's remember that collectively because I'm going to keep bringing that up as we go forward with him taking this job.
Right. Yeah.
Because I know I vividly remember him and Theresa working together at Crane Industries. That is something that is coming down the pipeline for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Pilar tells Theresa that Alistair can't be trusted and that he will want something in return. Theresa just ignores her. She's like, no, he just thinks I'm great. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks I'm smarter than his stupid son, Julian. And, it's like, girl, he's using you. If you can't tell that, come on. You are a 19-year-old
and you're
mother of an infant
of like $1 billion company. Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. To think that he wants anything in your brain is absurd.
Yep.
It's absurd. So anyway, later on, she's like talking to her baby and having a moment with her baby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With her she has a teddy bear that Ethan won for her. And I remember when Ethan won this teddy bear for her on their one and only date that they've ever been on.
Really?
They've only been on one like real date, like where he was like, "Hey, will you go out with me?" And then they've had like dinner at the Lobster Shack with with friends and family, or they went to the Love Noodle, Sally Chin's House of Noodles, but a date.
Yeah, you're right.
This was their one and only.
They've been on has been an accident or like a favor or something that wasn't an actual date.
Yeah, they've been on one real date. And he won this teddy bear for her, and she won one for him apparently. And she's telling her baby like, I'm giving you this bear. It's a really important bear to me. And then Ethan is like listening from outside the door. He comes in. He seems like moved by the speech she's giving her baby about this teddy bear.
That probably touched his heart.
But then he comes in and tells her, he sees her holding the bear, and she says, "Oh yeah, this memory holds great memories, or this bear holds great memories for us. Do you still have the one I won for you?" Right. And he tells her, "Oh, Theresa, that was a lifetime ago. Things are different now. We're not together anymore. And you need to remember that." And then he walks away from her. Teresa's completely undeterred. She's like, "Okay, Ethan, I will have you."
She won't take no for an answer. Totally.
Yeah. I didn't understand why he wouldn't just tell her like, "Yeah, I still have the bear, but it doesn't mean anything."
Right. Like, yeah. Why is he so cryptic?
Yeah.
Because also, when they find the bear, it seemed like he didn't know where it had been. Like he was like, he seemed, like it had gotten lost.
Which would make sense because he's a vagabond. Where's all his stuff, right? Like, how did his stuff end up back here? Where was it? He's probably lost some things in transit here and there, to be honest. He's living out of his car, probably. Does he even have a car? Because I think his first car was owned by the Cranes. I think that was a thing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, later on, Gwen's like in their closet and she finds his teddy bear. Yeah. And Ethan sees it, grabs it, is clearly uneasy about it, and then like throws it on the bed. Instead of like putting it back in the box and putting it away, or taking it to Theresa and being like, "Hey, here's that bear. Here's the twin."
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. That's really all I have for them this week. You have anything to add?
No, I never really do. I feel like I should have but no, I feel like you were good at covering stuff.
I talk so much.
You really cover every little moment. So it's like, I don't have anything to add because we really did just cover that.
I really do. I don't know. I don't want to leave stuff. I do leave some stuff out. Sometimes I'm just like, as a matter of fact, in Magic today, some things will get left out.
You can edit it out. It's good for us to have all of it down so you have it what you need.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we're going to talk about troubled marriages, I believe. Yes. On to troubled marriages.
That was good.
What?
I was so excited when what happened that wasn't real. Like when the K thing, I thought it was real, and I was out loud. I was like, "Oh my God." Like she just laid it out, and everything I wanted her to say, she just nailed it. And then it wasn't real, and
it was so good. And I knew it wasn't real because I know what happens in this storyline. So I was like, this is great, but this isn't happening.
It was hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, but this isn't actually happening. So let's talk about what happens leading up to that moment. Grace is complaining about Kay to Sam. About how she is a terrible kid, and Noah didn't act like this when he was a teenager. And Sam defends her. Sam's like, "Well, Noah didn't have to deal with the same shit that Kay's had to deal with."
She's displaying some of the behavior that Kay is saying that she hates about her right now. Like she doesn't really empathize with Kay at all, and she's kind of actually othering her, even though it's like, I carried you in my stomach. I've known you since day one, but she's not acting like that.
You're absolutely right. And I said this last week. I might have said it the week before. Grace is not addressing the actual issues that Kay has laid out in front of her.
Really, clearly that this is exactly what upsets me. No,
Grace is refusing to address what
That's why
Kay
you
has
don't like
actually said to her.
Grace, like, because she's like a sanctimonious kind of hypocrite.
She
And
is, especially
yeah.
especially in these episodes.
Yeah.
Because last week, oh my God, last week David like had his hands on Kay, and I was so mad at Grace because she was defending David. And yes, Kay slapped her, fine. But Grace had walked out of the room. Grace had walked away. David had no reason to have his hands restraining Kay to the point that he's leaving marks on her arms.
No. And also it's not his place. Like, she slapped, like, that's not his place. Like, it doesn't matter if he was offended for the mom. It was wrong. The parents will deal with it. You don't touch a random kid. Like, 100% weirdo.
The only way I would give David a pass, the only way I would give him a pass on this is if Kay was truly out of control, violent, trying to get to her mom. But that is not what was happening.
He slapped her like to shock her and to be mean, basically.
And tried to walk away. And David grabbed her when she tried to walk away. Grace had left the room. Kay tries to walk away and David grabs her. So and they talk about that again this week too. Yeah, Grace is complaining about Kay. Sam stands up for Kay and says she has been through a lot, and sometimes kids act out when they've been through the kinds of things that she's been through. Right. And then, oh God, I hate Grace because Grace then says something that pissed me off so bad. She says, well, I just hope that Kay realizes she doesn't have a future with Miguel before she tears our family apart.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
What do you mean?
I have to look that up. So I said earlier, I was like, is that Patrick Bateman, who is the character in American Psycho? So I think it's named Patrick Warburton. Do you remember him from Seinfeld? And like, he always plays the same character. I'm just going to look it up.
Is that who it is? Oh, you're looking it up.
I think I'm just going to Google this guy's name and then SpongeBob.
Okay.
It has to be him.
It might be him.
SpongeBob.
Who does the old brother? This guy stinks.
Yeah, he voiced the character King Neptune's mother. I don't know.
And he probably does like a bunch of different voices on.
He always does the same. His voice is very distinctive, and he uses the exact same voice for everything he's in.
Oh, I don't know him.
It's all right.
It's okay.
I just like wanted to know if I was right.
It was just driving you crazy. I get it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she says Kay's gonna tear their family apart because she has a crush on Miguel. It's like, girl, come on.
Is that all it takes to tear your family apart? Like,
not to mention your family is torn to shreds and pieces. First of all, where the fuck is Noah? Second of all, you kissing David in the bushes. Hello.
Yeah.
You have a whole new son. Your family is in shambles. You can put it back together, but it has nothing to do with Kay. It is not Kay's fault.
Right. No, you're right. She's like scapegoating Kay.
Yeah, that you refuse to sleep with your husband, that you are making him sleep on the couch. That has nothing to do with Kay. And that really pissed me off. She needs to realize it before she destroys our family. Oh, I hate her.
I totally feel that. That is annoying and toxic.
It's disgusting. And so then Sam tells Grace that he's like, I need to talk to you about something else, though. I don't want David acting like a father to our children.
Yeah, referencing that thing, right?
Yeah, which is perfect. Great, Sam. And he says it so nicely, calmly. And then she defends David and is like, well, he was just defending me. And Sam's like, yeah, no, I get that, but I just don't feel comfortable with him disciplining our children. Fair enough. And then John shows up because John apparently had borrowed the car. So John comes like, thanks for letting me borrow the car, Mom.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ivy and David are having a meeting in broad daylight.
Right out. Yeah. Talking loudly.
At a very public place.
In a public park.
And they're arguing about this plot that Ivy has set up. Of course, David saying, I'm not going to do it anymore. And she's like, yes, you will. And she just lays out every single thing. She says all the things that she did.
Every bad thing they've done. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kay happens to be listening from behind the bushes. She hears the whole thing. She hears it all from Ivy's mouth directly. which
Right.
I loved. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, it is good. Perfect person to hear that.
Yeah. So David, of course, ends up going back to the Bennett home because Ivy's told him, I'm blackmailing you, or you will do what I tell you to do, and you will break up Sam and Grace, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He goes back. He goes in and just makes himself at home at their house. He's like, Grace makes him at home too. She's like, you want some tomato soup cake? No, nobody wants that nasty ass cake. And everybody's eating it to be polite.
Yeah. And they're all making jokes about it constantly, even to your face. So it's like, stop.
Yeah. And then Ivy comes rolling in right after him.
Yeah.
And she says that she came there to see Grace and talk to her about the school fundraiser. I'm gonna let it pass. I haven't heard these two women talking about fundraising or anything since episode 200, but whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So this is when Kay comes back. And she actually gives her mom and David an apology. And then she says, I have something to share with everyone, something really important. And then she tells them that David and Ivy were at Lighthouse Park and they were talking about breaking up Sam and Grace's marriage. That she explodes the whole thing. It was a fantasy. It was not real. Unfortunately. It was so good though.
It was hilarious because literally every little point she kept being like, and this is like, that was a lie earlier, blah, blah. She just broke it down so quickly without reacting to their horror at all. She was like, this and this and this. And like, I was just like, yes, I was so excited.
Yeah.
But I should have known better. I should have known.
Yeah, sorry. It was nothing. It was all a fantasy. And then Kay is really about to say the thing, right?
Yeah.
And then Grace starts to feel faint and she gets like this horrible feeling.
Okay.
Says,
can I just say how annoying? So that's so stupid because it's like her daughter was like, I have something to tell you guys that's going to change your lives. So that's like a dark tone. Grace is like, I just all of a sudden got this weird feeling. It's like, yeah, those are called emotions. And like everyone in the room is aware of that vibe. Like, what are you doing?
Learn to regulate, bitch.
Seriously, don't tell us this. Just keep it to yourself, Grace.
Grace is just so dysregulated. I can't stand her.
Yeah.
And so, she's like, oh, I feel faint. There's so much sorrow. I feel so much sorrow and great sadness just came over me.
I know that's not what she was doing, but it felt that way to me.
Yeah, it felt, she sucks. I don't like her. She says just great sadness came over me because there's so much pain in our household and so much loss. She's so annoying. Kay gets her like inner monologue and it says like, you're right, mother dearest. It won't be okay. Things are about to get pretty bad. You've been treating me like dirt. Well, now you're about to see exactly what that feels like. I was like, okay, Kay, yeah, girl. But then everything is put on hold. And John tells Kay that he has to go take something to charity at the hospital. And
I love the whole like cousins can get married thing. Like that's like crazy. It's like no one's gonna go for that. That isn't already nuts. Like so it's but they're gonna try to push that.
They are gonna try to push that. So stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Kay says to him, hey, if Charity and Miguel ever break up, you and the two of you might make a nice couple or whatever. And John's like, well, she's my cousin. And Kay's like, that's not true. And then she's like, oh, wait, I forgot. I always forget that, you just showed up. So I always forget that we're related to you.
She said that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
She popped into my fucking life. I forgot.
Yeah. And then she says, but you shouldn't let the cousin thing stand in the way of you guys getting together. These days, anything can happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Real heavy on the incest on this show.
Yeah, totally.
So at this point, Tabitha, what's going on with Tabitha at her house is that Zombie is like in and out, popping in and out. And Zombie has told Tabitha that Kay found out about Ivy's plot and that she's ready to blow the whole thing sky high. Tabitha says it's too soon. It'll ruin all her plans. I don't know how. Well, whatever. Whatever.
They have the plan all seen out in a way we can't understand.
Yeah. Because it's like it'll still bring a lot of pain and suffering.
I don't see how it could be better than this moment. What I saw Kay do in her fantasy was perfection. So I don't see how it could be more perfect for that?
Yeah, they'll all be upset, but I guess it's because she specifically wants to break up Sam and Grace. And if this
Wants it
truth
all to,
comes
like, go
out,
together. Yeah, all of
yeah,
the destruction together, like,
yeah.
connected.
I think once the truth comes out, then especially if it comes out now, then Grace and Sam will just stay together. There will be they have no issues at all at that point.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I feel like Tabitha should have enjoyed. She seems like she likes seeing stuff blow up like this, but whatever.
Yeah.
So she comes in under the guise of looking for her Timmy. She's like, "Oh, I'm looking for my Timmy.
Mm-hmm.
He have you seen him? What'd you say?"
Thought she heard him in there. She thought she heard him calling for her and, like, in her grief or whatever.
It was actually very sad. Was Juliet Mills played this beautifully. It was, even though we know that Tabitha's doing a deception, it was very much rooted in real grief.
The whole episode was her drinking to forget how much she missed him. What I don't get, though, is she said that she's been with him since, like, Egyptian times and stuff. But then it's like, but I saw her make him, before the carnival so it's like, why can't she make him again? If he's I just don't get, so that's just not supposed to be something
we'll talk about it more because there's more like doll stuff in like the magic proper stuff.
Yeah.
But they did write it in such a way that you could get around the fact that she basically makes one Timmy per lifetime.
Okay.
So that was her Timmy for the lifetime.
You can't do it till next lifetime. Oh, I like that. That makes sense.
That's kind of what they said. But Tabitha's also been around for they also lead us to believe that her whole life I'm sorry, good God. They also lead us to believe that Cleopatra, the Titanic, all of that is all one lifetime for her.
Right.
And so I don't know. I don't know. The rules, there are no rules.
Yeah, okay.
There are no rules. But anyway, Tabitha comes in. It's actually very heartbreaking. It's like an old lady who is grieving, mourning a loss, and she's looking for this person. And so Grace like sits her down. She's like, "Oh my," they explain, Timmy's gone. She's like, "Oh, that's right. Oh my God." And then Grace says, you need some tea. Let me get you some tea. And Kay goes to the kitchen and get the tea. And that's when Zombie appears to her and tells her that she should not tell her parents about Ivy and David's plan. And she says, if you expose Ivy and David, there will be two people out of your family's lives, David and John. Mommy and Daddy won't have to worry about them anymore. They'll be able to focus on you, Kay. You won't be able to go after Miguel because they'll be watching your every move. Am I right? But Kay says, you must think I'm some kind of monster. I'm not. I don't want to see my parents' lives torn apart. I love that we got that from Kay, and that they gave us, like, Kay is not like this horrible monster. She does not want to see her parents' lives torn apart.
She literally just said before that she was so excited to see her mom's life fall apart when she told her the truth, and she wanted her to suffer like she had. And then she was like, you know what? I'm not evil. I'm not trying to ruin my parents' life. It's like, you just said you couldn't wait to do that.
I think there's two different things here. I think she wants to show her mother. I think she does want her mom to feel some pain. I don't think that she doesn't, but I don't think she wants her parents to break up. So if she exposed Ivy and David, her parents stay together, right? And yes, it will be painful in that moment for Grace and Sam, well, specifically for Grace, because she'll find out that John's not really her son and all of that. Right. However, going forward, she can just go back to the happy life she had with her husband and her kids.
Yeah.
Right. And they can really truly just cut Ivy out of their lives. Right. So I think telling the truth for Kay is the right thing. And yes, her mom will feel bad, and I think she wanted her to feel bad, because I think Kay's whole thing is, my mom thinks I'm the villain. I'm not the fucking villain. She loves John, she loves David, she believes David, but guess what? David's fucking lying to you. You think it's me, it's him. And I think that's what her motivation is for wanting her mom to kind of feel that that pain, and to feel wrong and know that she was wrong, and maybe realize maybe I'm not so wrong about Kay. Or
Right.
sorry, maybe I'm also wrong about Kay. So this is a different situation, right?
Yeah, you're right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, this is a different situation. This way, she's like, I don't want my parents, and specifically too, she doesn't want Sam to feel any kind of pain.
Yeah, I don't think she's mad at him.
No, she adores her dad, and she doesn't want to see him hurt, and she doesn't want their life torn apart. And so she says, I'm not going to let David and Ivy destroy their marriage. I'm going to tell them the truth right now about Ivy and David. And she says, and that'll be enough for them to deal with. Nobody's going to break up their marriage. No one. Then Kay comes back to the living room and she doesn't have any tea. And Grace is like, where is the tea? Tabitha needs her tea. It's like,
Chill, Grace.
Tabitha needs tea, Kay. And Kay says, no, there's something I really need to tell y'all is really important right now. Then the suspense just keeps building and building. Nobody says anything.
No one cares at a certain point. Like
For
they don't
episodes.
Yeah.
It goes on for episodes.
Mhm.
And then Kay tells her, just as Kay's about to say it, Grace is like, Kay, I need to speak to you. And she takes her to the kitchen separately and like pulls her away. And she says, does what you're going to say have to do with Miguel? You're not launching into some new campaign to try to take him away from Charity, are you? Girl, just let me say what I need to say.
Right.
You will know once I'm done.
Right.
Just let me say what I need to say. And then Kay says, could you be any more predictable? She says, everything's always about Charity when it comes to you. But when it comes to me, your own daughter, you don't give a damn about my happiness, do you? And then she says, what I'm going to say has nothing to do with Miguel or Charity. It's about you and Dad. I'm trying to help you. And if you're smart, you'll let me. Because if you don't, someone's going to tear your life apart. And Grace says she doesn't believe her.
Yeah.
Grace doesn't believe her. Grace is like, I don't know, after everything you've done lately. And
I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, I don't even know who you are anymore. And Kay says, I'm trying to do something good for you. I'm trying to protect you. And you still think I'm a horrible person. And Grace responds with, I wish I could believe you. I really do. But your recent behavior, I mean, you're my own daughter. And I don't even feel like I know you. Like, oh, don't.
Yeah.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I cannot stand her. I really can't stand her. And then Kay says, you know what? Forget it.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something to everyone that was gonna help you, but I'm over it now. So don't come running to me when your life falls apart because I was here for you, but you pushed me away. Great. I'm here for it. I'm like, yeah, fuck her. Fuck her. I feel bad though because Sam gets caught in the crosshair there, right?
Yeah.
Like her leaving her mom to her own devices, then also leaves her father to kind of pick up the pieces when everything blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but called too. Like he also has been he I don't know. I guess I don't feel bad about that part.
Oh, I do.
Like, he could say Kay wants to say something, guys. Like he let Grace deal with it and bet poorly. And Grace is like so overreactive and like she walked her daughter backwards into another room. She was like, wait, I need to talk to you, and like pushed her out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Sam deserves to get her. I like Sam, but I do think that like if it makes sense that she was like, whatever, and just left.
Yeah. And actually, you're right about, I think in that moment when Grace was like, I need to talk to you, Kay, she should have looped Sam in on that conversation. Like, you're both here, so you should both talk to your kid.
Yeah.
You know? And I do think if she had done that, that conversation would have gone very differently.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Kay goes to the kitchen and then Zombie comes in and talks to her. Zombie tells her no good deed goes unpunished. She tells her no good deed goes unpunished. And Kay says, you know what? To hell with my parents and to hell with their marriage. And I want Miguel and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get him. And then Kay then start to lay out the dumbest fucking plan I've ever heard to this zombie. She tells her, and it actually is worse than the plan she used to use all the time, which was trying to get him to sleep with her and having a baby. This time, she's like, I'm going to get John and Charity together. How?
You're going to get two cousins together. Like,
yeah.
I think it's weird. It's just weird. Yeah.
And that's basically what the zombie says to her. That's not going to work. It's weird.
Right. Yeah.
They're cousins. And Kay's like, they're not really cousins. And then the zombie has to explain to her, like, you can't tell them that because you're not blowing up the secret anymore.
Right.
And then Kay's like, well, haven't you heard? It's the 20th century or 21st century. Cousins can get married. Girl, that's not 21st century shit.
That's like back in the day, it was more common. It's like not like it's a new day. We can finally marry our cousins. Like, yeah.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Very gross. And they are both not into that. Like neither of them have that kind of personality where they'd be like, give into these something like that. I don't know. She's doing the wrong thing.
Yeah. After all is said and done, Kay apologizes to Grace for the way she's been acting, and then she and John go off to the hospital to see Charity because John had a gift to give to Charity. Right. Grace is still very suspicious of Kay, and whatever, who cares? I don't like her. Moving on to Magic.
I was like, I like her because she reminds me of Enya, and I totally hate her now too. After hearing you talk about it, I'm totally like, I think you're right, and it is bullshit.
Yeah, Grace honestly, since David showed up, when David showed up, I started to dislike Grace. Yeah. But it wasn't like pure like, I hate her. I don't want to see her on my screen. It was just like, I don't love the conversation she's having. I don't like the decision she's making.
Yeah.
But now the way she treats Kay really pisses me off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I totally get it. It's the way she treats Kay, and Kay is so valid for saying like because actions speak louder than words. All Kay sees is that you dote on Charity.
Right.
Like honestly, Jessica could have the exact same like grievances with Grace. We never see Grace have a conversation with Jessica ever.
Yeah.
But we see her with Charity so much, and she's always doting on Charity, and she's like made it clear that she thinks Charity's like perfect. Yeah. And again, I will always come back to the fact that when Kay told Grace about her feelings for Miguel, she completely dismissed her.
Yeah.
Completely and entirely dismissed her, and it was fucked up.
Yeah.
So yeah, Grace deserves what's coming to her. So anyway, let's talk about Magic. Oh, that's the wrong music. There's not a ton to talk about here. Some of it we already talked about, like Charity having that premonition.
They're in the other people's storyline, so I feel like we covered their stuff.
Yeah, we really did. There's very little to talk about here.
One thing that we have to talk about. Yeah.
So we already talked about Charity. She's at the hospital having premonitions. There's actually a couple of things we need to talk about here because I did forget about this in the Simone and Chad stuff. So Whitney and Chad go to the hospital to see Charity.
Right.
Simone and Miguel are already there.
Yeah.
Miguel at one point is having a conversation with Charity about how secrets and lies will destroy relationships. And when that topic comes up, he's like, you know what? I got to tell you the truth about something. Simone excuses herself because I feel like she knew what this conversation was supposed to be about.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And so he's about to tell her the truth about how he slept with Kay, but he gets interrupted by a nurse who comes in, and he's like, you know what? We can talk about it later. So he goes out, and Simone walks up to him and she says, did you tell her about that you slept with Kay? And he says that he didn't. And she tells him, I don't think you should. Good, because I don't think you should, because it would cause her so much pain. It would destroy her.
Yeah, so it's the whole thing again, like she'll die if you tell her the truth.
It will destroy her.
And her saying that is also referring to her own self, who will emotionally die if she knows the truth about her sister. So it's like the same thing for every person.
It's the same narrative. Miguel says, I think it's better if the truth comes out. Enter Chad and Whitney. Okay.
Well, and Miguel explaining to them, like, we know that like he was like tricked into sleeping with her. It's like magical. But listening to him like he's like, and yeah, I love Charity. Obviously, I did sleep with someone else. And like he just kind of says it in this way where it's like, wait, what, dude? We know it's magic, but it sounded sketchy. Like it sounds like he just slept with some random girl.
He's like, there
Whatever.
was another girl, and
It's not a big deal, and we're gonna figure it out.
but I gotta tell Charity the truth about it, right? So Chad and Whitney show up, and Simone and Miguel kind of bring them up to speed on what's going on. They don't give them the details, though, right? They don't know that it's Kay. They don't really know that they slept together. Just know that another girl is involved.
Right.
And so he asks Chad what he should do, and Chad says that Charity deserves to know the truth. Yeah. And then Simone scoffs. She's like, well, I don't think you should tell her. She says it would just devastate her. She goes on to say, Miguel loves Charity and they're together. Why tell her something that might possibly tear them apart? I mean, I love Chad and I know that Chad loves me. I don't want to hear about some other woman before me. I never want to hear about anyone else in Chad's life. Why bring up something that's going to cause heartache? Yeah. Way better not to even ever know. So a few things here.
Yeah.
A couple of things here. Number one is that she's saying she doesn't want to hear about some woman from before her, but that's not what the conversation is even about. Miguel and Charity were together and he slept with somebody else. That's not the same thing.
The situation that she's in with Chad, like she randomly makes it different than what they're talking about.
Yeah, she makes it about herself.
Right.
And then uses an incorrect scenario. Annoying. Right. And then the next portion of this saying to bring Chad and say, I love Chad and Chad loves me and I don't want to hear about some living in her delusion. I don't know.
She keeps saying the very perfect thing to everyone around her so they know exactly the delusion that she's having, exactly what they need to say to make her think that it's okay. Like she tells them pretty much every time.
Yeah. So anyway, that's really all that happened at the hospital with them that we hadn't talked about. Now let's talk about Zombie and Tabitha, who are at her house. They do the whole thing with Kay for a little while and then they come back to the house. Like you said, Tabitha's like mourning the loss of Timmy. She's drinking. She's reminiscing about the good time. I said good time. She's
that one good time. They keep showing it and showing it. It was perfect.
It was one good time, but it was a hell of a time.
Oh, good.
No, she keeps reminiscing about all the good times. Plural.
Or we get some montages, which I like because it made him come back for a second.
Yeah. And they were nice montages with good music. One was like to What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. Yeah. One was a song I didn't know, but I liked it. I liked the song. So then Zombie tells her, if you're so sad about Timmy, why don't you just make a new one? Just make a new one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she says she can't. She makes a really nice speech. She says the day I brought Timmy the day I brought Timmy into this world, that was an extraordinary moment. The stars, the planets, the sun, the moon, they were all aligned in perfect order, the likes of which have never been seen before and will never be seen again, not in this lifetime anyway. And when I gazed onto that sweet, happy little face, I knew that I had created something special, something unique, magical. Magic like that just comes along once in a lifetime.
That is so sweet.
It was so sweet. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is when Zombie brings up all her other like lifetimes with Timmy, and we get all the montage of all the different ages that they were in. Cleopatra, then Rasputin, the Titanic. Just the those old things. And then Tabitha says, well, I did make him in those lifetimes, but it's over for this lifetime. His, I'll have to see him the next lifetime. Right. So that goes to your earlier point about like we watched her make him. So
that really makes sense. But I think her point is like that it was like love, and that's not something she can just make. Like it happened, and it's not necessarily something she could make again, which we then see from the abomination that gets created without love.
Yeah, because zombie Tabitha. Can you imagine zombie
That would be
Tabitha?
awesome. Yeah.
Zombie Charity then finds like a big bag of doll parts and tells Tabitha to make a new doll. Tabitha refuses. She's like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do it. And so Zombie makes a doll herself. She kind of Frankensteins this doll together. And then Zombie asks the boys in the basement to like lend her some magic to make the doll come to life and to give Tabitha a new sidekick. And they do. They like send a little red smoke up into its nose and it like its eyes like open up. Yeah, and then she wakes Tabitha up because Tabitha had fallen asleep and she fell asleep like talking to Timmy as her guardian angel. And we get like a little clip of like an angel feather falling down onto her and kind of like going into her body, like dissipating on her. And she smiles and it looks like she like starts to find peace. So that was kind of sweet. It was obviously Timmy telling her he's watching over her. Right. And she falls asleep. So then Zombie wakes her up and tells her, hey, I made something for you. I got a surprise for you. Come and look at your new sidekick. Tabitha's like, what the fuck is that? I don't want this stupid fucking thing. She kicks it.
Yeah, she's pretty mean to this doll. Like, it makes sense the doll's not so awesome because this is the first thing that she comes to hear.
Yeah. She kicks the doll. The doll's like, ow. And Tabitha's like, I don't want this thing. And the doll's name is Connie. Those of you who've seen the show, we now have cracked Connie. Tabitha cracked the doll when she kicked it. And so Charity tries to convince her to let Connie serve her. She's like, your house is a mess. At least let her clean the fucking house. Like, it smells like kitty litter in here. At least let her clean out the kitty box. Were you going to say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. It looked like you were about to say something. Okay.
No.
All right. But Tabitha says, I don't want that thing in here. There's just something off about her. I don't want it.
Yeah. She's like, well, she's a girl. When she said there's something off about her, she's like, well, she's a girl.
Yeah. She's like, well, you said you wanted something different. Timmy was a boy. She's a girl. Like, okay. And Tabitha was like, why did you make a girl? And Zombie was like, well, I had to use the parts I had. Like, okay. And so then Zombie leaves Tabitha and Tabitha decides that she's going to take that doll apart. She's like, I'm going to get rid of this thing. But Connie like wakes up and attacks her.
Yeah.
Chokes her out. So that's all I have to say about that. The very, very last thing here is Kay and John going to the hospital.
Yeah.
They go to the hospital.
Starting to work a little. That's all that happens.
Yeah, very little happens. They go to the hospital and John gives her a book of poetry. He's like, you love poetry, right? It's just, they're setting us up for maybe these two people, having some sort of connection. And Kay taking advantage of that. But she does guilt Miguel about this party, which, bitch, how do you even know about the party?
Yeah.
She guilts Miguel like, oh, they're having a party for your brother and Sheridan at the mansion. Like, you need to go. We need to go. And she calls him selfish at one point.
You're selfish if you don't do this. She really, really like strong arms him into doing it. He does not want to.
No, he doesn't want to go. He says he doesn't want to leave Charity there alone. But eventually he begrudgingly says like, yeah, because Kay's like, well, if you don't want to leave Charity alone, I'm sure John would be happy to stay here with her, like, and bond over poetry or whatever. And so he finally decides he'll go and blah, blah, blah. Then, this is the last thing I'm going to say. He tells Kay that he hasn't told Charity about them sleeping together yet. And he's going to wait until she's stronger and better because she did just have a heart transplant. Yeah. And then he apologizes to her for what happened, for sleeping with her. That was so funny,
too. He's like, wow, I don't know why I thought that you were someone else. Can you imagine being in that situation and someone being like, I thought you were someone else? I know magic was involved, but...
Yeah, no, that would be insane.
I feel like and she's like, it's fine. It's like, if someone
it's
said
not.
It wouldn't be fine.
Yeah. He apologizes to her and Kay. at the end of this, he like walks off and she says to herself that the next time that she and Miguel make love, he's gonna know it's her. I was like, oh, she finally got a clue. Great. Finally. Yes, girl, that should have been the plan all along. I don't know why you thought that plan would fucking work.
Right. Being a predator and like,
pretending to be somebody else. He doesn't love you. Like, if you have to put on somebody else's face and essence to make him have sex with you, that means he doesn't want to have sex with, like, he doesn't want to be with you.
It's also traumatizing. Like, he's clearly kind of fucked up from it. Like, he doesn't even know what happened.
Yeah, I feel bad for him on that front for sure. So that's it for today. Anything to add before we sign off?
No.
All right. Well, folks, that's it. That's all she wrote. Jessica, where can the people find you on the internet?
On Instagram, I'm fairfolktrade, and my website is fairfolktrade.com. If you want stuff.
All right, I'll put that in the description. And I've been on your website. I really like all of the things, particularly the crystal balls. I'm
more into the crystal balls too. Those are my favorite thing to do.
I was like, oh, these are beautiful. Where do you find those? Like, how do you find the stuff that you sell?
I get almost everything online from like Cherish, like eBay, places that just sell antiques online. It's hard to find stuff like that randomly. Like, I haven't done that, I don't think, ever.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, how does she source this stuff? Because it's like antiques. Yeah.
Well, have you ever used Cherish before?
Mm-mm.
It's cool. It has like, go on and type in anything, and they have it like high-end like antiques kind of.
Oh.
Also,
cool.
do you know what fairfolk means? I keep saying that.
Isn't it like fairies?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to give them their respect and that's a nod to you guys. So there you go.
All right. Well, and if you want to find me, people, you know where to find me. Patreon.com/passionspodcast. And with that, you are my passion for life.